First up there, let's talk to Colin Buckley. He's in Bergen in Norway. He rang into the show yesterday when I rather glibly said, oh, if you happen to be an expert in this field in terms of finding subs at the bottom of the Atlantic, do call in. And he actually did. And if you are also an expert, do call in as well, 0344 499 1000. And Colin Buckley joins us again this morning. Good morning to you, Colin.
Hello, Julia.
Hello, lovely to actually see you and hear from you again. Now, you are a remote-operated vehicle submersive pilot yourself, not really operating at the depths that we're looking at for this sub that's gone missing, we think, around 3,800 feet below the Atlantic, 370 miles from the Newfoundland coast. These underwater banging sounds that were detected in the search of the missing sub by aircraft using sonar. We just spoke to former Rear Admiral Dr. Chris Parry. He says, look, this is a fool's errand. It's unlikely to be the sub. Very unlikely these people are alive. Very unlikely we'll find the sub. Do you agree with him, or do you think there is some hope now?
He's much more experienced. And to be honest, when he mentioned it was a carbon fibre hull, that makes it more unlikely. I don't think the only positive thing I find now is that there is a ship in the area which is purely designed for operating at that sort of depth. They must have diverted. I said yesterday the chances of getting a boat there in that time was almost impossible. But there you go. Sometimes things work. Well,
yeah, I mean, we understand, this boat, and it has got the ability to actually send a sub down that could perhaps have these sort of claws to sort of, or a rope down. Not rope, wouldn't be a rope, obviously, but some sort of cable.
Has a crane. It's designed for lifting pipelines and such and cables off the seabed, so it's got a crane purposely designed for that sort of depth of operation.
And we're not looking at something, I mean, although we think about 10 tonnes weight underwater, this 21-foot sub, but we think that, obviously that it would be possible there for it to be brought up. But the key thing is you have to find it first.
Exactly, Julia, that's the problem. And they're using sonar buoys. I'm guessing they're sort of using trigonometry where they're trying to get a load of different buoys to pinpoint it. But even then, you send an ROV down, and if it's mid-water, trying to find something mid-water, well, you've got to be at the right level for the sonar to operate because it has a very short distance from the lower part to the top part. So to actually find it mid-water would be, I think, almost impossible. If it's on the seabed and they've got an area within like a square 100 metres, 200 metres, and you could drive zones backwards and forwards and you would pick something up, even being a carbon fibre hull, it will still give a sonar return so they'd find it. But again, the chances, if they get this will be the most amazing thing that's happened in years.
I mean, that's it. And we are all hoping against hope. And we can understand we've got 5 souls down there, 5 lives, one of which is a 19-year-old. I mean, you've got 3 British citizens down there. We want this to happen. We want this to be an amazing Hollywood tale of daring do, not a Hollywood disaster movie, which is what it feels like right now. But hopes are fading. Well, yesterday, they had the Coast Guard saying that it was their understanding that, at best, there were 40 hours of air left, of oxygen left. That was at 6 p.m. yesterday, so we're looking at less than 27 hours. May well be, down under 24 now. That means that, again, it's not just about finding the submersible, it's getting it up in that time. And it was pointed out yesterday
that it would take about an hour. If they find it, they would have they've probably got the rigging ready on the vessel to the crane. They know what the sub looks like. If they find it, they'd have something wrapped around and tied to it, and that crane would pull it to the surface in no time. They've got their deployment landing slide. They could maneuver it onto that and get it out. If they find it, they've got a very good chance. If they don't find it, we're where we are now, aren't we?
And if it were on the surface, if there were any chance of it being found on the surface, now that was the best case scenario. Like if it's on the surface, they'd be found, and then it wouldn't be so many worries. But there is still that concern. It's a tiny vessel, again, made of carbon fibre, difficult to detect. It's a huge ocean, bad conditions, we understand. But also, I hadn't realised until yesterday morning that they can't open the sub if they're running out of oxygen because, of course, it's been pressurised to withstand, what is it, 40? Is it 40 atmospheres? So
they did open it, would probably flood in no time too, so that wouldn't be a good option.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything about this is just horrific. I mean, there is no good option here. But the hope of finding... If you were a betting man, and I'm thinking people who would go down in this, what is now effectively a 21-foot coffin under the sea, are certainly betting people. If you were a betting man, do you think we're going to find these 5 men alive?
I'd have to say no.
OK. Colin, look, keep in touch. Colin Buckley, really appreciate you joining us. He's a listener in Bergen in Norway, and is himself a remote-operated vehicle submersive pilot.